Hey, what's going on guys, Chris here, taking an in-depth look at one of the Apocalypse DLC guns in Battlefield 1. And this video is going to be all about the RSC SMG for the Assault class, a high-powered French prototype weapon originally designed for use with tank crews in close-quarter combat. So the RSC SMG was a fully automatic gun which had a very similar mechanism to the semi-automatic RSC 1917 rifle. And despite having SMG in the name, the weapon technically isn't really a submachine gun, as it fired the full-fat 8mm Lebel cartridge instead of pistol rounds, so the very same 8mm ammunition used in the RSC 1917 and the Lebel 1886, giving the user a pretty damn powerful shot for a weapon designed to be used in short-range combat. The gun only weighed about 4 kilograms and was fairly small in size, having an overall length of just over half a meter. And original copies of the prototype, which is the one that we get to use in Battlefield 1, used a special Mannlicher type clip, holding a total of 8 bullets. Though the gun would later be modified to use the same 20-round magazine as the Show LMG, in further stages of experimentation. To help compensate for the extra recoil generated by those stronger bullets, the RSC SMG had its own chunky muzzle brake built into the end of the barrel, to essentially try and prevent it from kicking upwards as much when opening fire. Though the lack of a stock probably would have made it a pretty tricky weapon to control on its own, with it just using a simple wooden pistol grip for stability. So back in the year of 1917, three weapons designers, Ribeiro, Sutter and Show, created a semi-automatic rifle for the French army, the RSC 1917, named from their initials and the year of its creation. Though skip forward to the next year, in July 1918, the designers decided to present their brand new fully automatic weapon to Allied officers, one that used a similar system to that previous semi-automatic model. Simply just named the Show Ribeiro's SMG, the gun was initially designed to be used by French tank crews for close-range protection, and quite a lot of experimental work was conducted over the course of about a year, between the summer of 1918 and July 1919, with the weapon being modified and changed as time went on. Even though the war ended in November 1918, that didn't stop the RSC SMG's development, which eventually led to the gun being adapted to use the Show's 20-round magazines. And the weapon's rear iron sights were practically removed due to the idea of using tracer ammunition to direct fire towards targets instead. Though after all of the trials, experimentation and hard work put into designing the gun, although it seemed to work fine enough during testing, it was decided that the RSC SMG's extra stopping power was a bit unnecessary for doing what it needed to do, and it just didn't really fit its intended purpose of being a close quarter protection kind of weapon, which sort of sealed its fate, with the fully automatic RSC being left behind in the past as another idea that never really took off. Now there's two different variations of the RSC SMG that came along in the Apocalypse DLC, with the first one being the Factory. This can be unlocked by simply getting yourself 50 kills with the Assault class, so just run around racking up kills with your favourite assault weapons and you'll get the Factory variant pretty easily. But as for the Optical variant, you'll first need to get another 50 kills, but you're going to need to use that RSC SMG Factory variant you've just unlocked to do so. And then you'll need to perform 300 vehicle damage using explosives within a round. Now you're probably best hopping into an operations game for this one, as they tend to have pretty long match times, giving you plenty of time to get the assignment done. And if there's an enemy tank or behemoth around, just keep blasting AT rockets and throwing explosives to accumulate that damage. But other than just blowing up tanks and other land vehicles, the way that I got this one done was just to use the brand new AA rocket gun and fire at planes doing bombing runs over the map. Because planes are very predictable targets, doing bombing runs over the same areas over and over again in operations, they can be really easy to inflict damage on quickly, so I definitely advise trying that out if you're having trouble completing this task. But anyway, moving over to those stats. Because the gun fires a stronger cartridge, this translates over to a stronger hit, as the RSC SMG dishes out some of the highest damage figures out of all of the Assault's automatic weapons, dealing a maximum of 38 damage up to 10 meters and a minimum of 21.5 at 47 meters and beyond. This higher damage means that the gun's capable of killing an enemy in just 3 bullets, but only up to 12 meters, just like the M1917 trench carbine, as it'll drop to a 4 bullet kill beyond here up to 30 meters, and then 5 further than this. So the RSC takes the prize of being the most powerful damage dealing assault SMG now, with it pretty much killing in one less round than the Ribeiros at all ranges. But although the gun can be a bit of a beast up close, it's still not exactly got brilliant range when you compare it to some of the other weapons in the whole game. with the support Shosho having a free hit kill range of up to 20 meters, and with a lot of the medic rifles being able to score a free shot kill at much longer distances too, rendering the RSC SMG as a pretty poor range weapon in comparison to those. Cracking a headshot in CQC is going to bump that damage up to 64.6, allowing you to pull off a 2-bullet kill. And with the weapon's vertical recoil often kicking the gun upwards, drawing the line of fire into your opponent's face, this can often go into your favour, speeding up those kill times even more. When it comes to inflicting damage, this is one of the few factors that the RSC SMG excels by, boasting some impressive power in close ranges by chipping off huge portions of enemy health for every shot that lands on target. Although the gun packs a pretty mean punch compared to the other SMGs, its sluggish 450 RPM fire rate brings the weapon down a notch and essentially lengthens that kill time slightly in the process, putting it more in line with some of the other assault weapons. The RSC might be able to take players out in less bullets, but it can still be beaten by the updated SMG 0818 and the machining pistol, with those having blisteringly fast fire rates, which actually deal enough damage to kill at a slightly quicker pace. The RSC's got fairly similar kill times to the Automatico in CQC, and can generally kill faster than a lot of other assault weapons at further ranges, due to that higher damage output. Though in a competitive sense, it doesn't actually do anything amazing that will allow it to kill any more efficiently than the rest of the SMGs, though it will be able to drop targets faster than the M1917 Trench Carbine, which also has a free bullet kill up close, but an even slower fire rate still. One thing that might benefit the user is the fact that the weapon does have the quickest bullet travel speed of all the assault guns, with a pretty nippy muzzle velocity of 570 meters per second, which is even quicker than the Ruby rolls and puts it on par with the Medic's Fedorov Automat. This should help you out when leading enemy movements over distance, and if you're firing pop shots in semi-auto at a ranged target, then the RSC SMG will probably perform more effectively, though do keep in mind that it's still got a slower muzzle velocity than most of the Medic rifles, and so it won't be quite as easy to use as those for long-ranged engagements. Despite having that muzzle brake to help reduce recoil, firing off those stronger bullets is going to cause the gun to kick harder than a kangaroo on crack. If we discount the shotguns, the RSC SMG's got the heaviest amount of vertical recoil out of the assault weapons, with an upwards value of 0.75. So it's a jumpy little bugger that's not exactly the easiest thing to control. And to make matters worse, the gun's horizontal recoil isn't really fantastic either, as it'll sway side to side as you open fire in a similar way to the Automatico, with it having a lateral recoil figure of 0.4. Now 0.4 horizontal recoil isn't the worst thing in the world, as it's still going to provide you with more accuracy than the updated SMG 0818 machining pistol and Hellriegel defensive variant, but when you combine it with the gun's wild upwards kick, this generates more bounce than you'd probably like, not only rendering the gun as an unstable and imprecise weapon, but one that can also unfortunately be a bit unpredictable. The RSC's erratic recoil pattern will undoubtedly cause you to miss targets beyond those closer ranges, so squeezing the trigger and mag dumping in full auto is only really a reliable option if your enemy is standing right in front of your nose. The factory variant is gifted with a fairly low first shot recoil multiplier of 1.67 times, making tap and burst firing even more effective, though the Optical on the other hand has lower ADS spread values to help increase accuracy further when aiming down those sights. But even though the Optical's first shot recoil multiplier is a bit higher than the factory's at 2 times, I'd still definitely advise tap and burst firing against targets beyond those point blank ranges anyway, as it's the only way to really tame that beastly recoil pattern and get shots to land where you want them to. Another major drawback in using the RSC SMG is the fact that it uses 8-round clips, giving the user a possible ammo capacity of just 9 shots, if a bullet's already left over in the chamber after reloading, that is. Compared to the other assault submachine guns, this is hardly anything, with the RSC having the lowest ammo capacity of the bunch by far, and it's probably got more in common with the Medic's semi-automatic guns, which all generally deal higher amounts of damage over range than the RSC and provide the user with a greater degree of accuracy too. It's still enough to potentially take out 3 unweakened opponents in CQC, or possibly 4 if you're managing to hit those headshots. But that's providing all of your shots land bang on target, and if an enemy is slightly out of the gun's optimal range, then you could end up using over half a clip to bring them down, preventing you from being able to kill another enemy at a similar distance without having to reload first. Speaking of reloads, this is something you're going to have to get used to doing a lot when using the RSC SMG. And it's also something that's going to test your ability to evade danger whilst you do, with those reloads taking a pretty long time to perform. Tactical reloads are going to cost you 3.7 seconds, so roughly about the same time as the Hellregals. And considering the Hellregal can hold up to 60 bullets as opposed to a measly 9, this really shows us how badly the RSC handles with its ammunition. Full reloads will be slightly longer still, taking almost 4 seconds to perform, plus you'll only be given 8 bullets here too, down to the one left over in the chamber being used up. It's not quite as awkward as the machine and pistols reloads, but you'll still be faffing around with the gun in between kills nevertheless, putting you in a lot of tricky situations whilst making you a very vulnerable target. But anyway, in conclusion, the RSC SMG is one of the trickiest weapons in the whole game to get the hang of and use effectively, as although it kills pretty quickly up close and deals some of the highest amounts of damage in the assault class, it's also cursed with a load of disadvantages which not only limit its use as being a reliable competitive weapon, but it also doesn't exactly offer much to the user to make it a gun that's worth choosing over the other available options. The RSC can kill really quickly up close and does have some generally nice kill times across the board, but at the same time, its slow fire rate cuts down the weapon's ability to outshoot some of the other assault guns, bringing it more in line with what's already on offer. And the fact that the RSC has a really violent recoil pattern to contend with means that you'll often need to tap and burst fire the gun to actually stay on target against anyone beyond point blank range, increasing those kill times even further and making it a less dependable weapon for mowing down individuals hard and fast, with the gun's fully automatic fire. If you learn to master how to deal with the RSC's jumpy kick and use tap and burst firing to your advantage, then you'll be able to perform fairly well at slightly longer ranges, coming out on top against a lot of other weapons with that higher than average damage. And this should be made easier by the fact that the weapon's got a decent muzzle velocity too, putting it on par with a couple of the Medic semi-automatic rifles when it comes to bullet speed. Though the harshest aspect of the RSC SMG comes down to its ability to manage ammunition, as you're not going to be able to cause much chaos within the gun's optimal range up on the front lines with just 8 or 9 bullets, and whenever you're met with an empty clip, then you're going to have to spend a fair amount of time dancing around and faffing about with your next clip, which will often put you at huge risk, making you an extremely vulnerable target. You'll have to keep evading fire, jump from cover piece to cover piece, and just try your best to stay alive in between those kills. And because the gun holds such a small amount of ammo, has such punishing reload times, yet performs most effectively at closer distances, really creates a lot of tension and puts a hell of a lot of pressure on you to make every bullet count. Which definitely isn't the easiest thing to do when the RSC's crazy recoil pattern is likely to cause some of those rounds to fly off target whenever you open fire. I guess you could consider the RSC SMG as being the assault class's ultimate risk-reward skill cannon, letting you kill quickly and giving you a tad more range than a lot of the other submachine guns. Though it can be a very awkward weapon to master, and it does require you to play more tactically with a passive-aggressive mindset. In a competitive sense, the gun lacks the overall package of being a reliable offensive assault gun, but if you're up for a bit of a challenge and fancy testing yourself, then this could be a good weapon to try out. Just use it at your own peril. The RSC SMG definitely isn't for everyone. So that's all I've got for you this time, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button if you did, and subscribe for loads more content coming soon. Take it easy, and I'll see you in that next episode.